It is fucking story time, bitches. Long story short, it's about an ex that catfished and stalked me after, like, years after we broke up. Now, the long version is fucking strap in, boys. Okay. This was back when I had a Tumblr account that, you know, I actually used and whatever. I don't remember how long ago this was. But, it was probably not too far from, like, 2010. So this is a long time ago, right? And... No, we lost another one. Okay, I'll try to stick it in there, I guess. That's what he said, by the way. This was back in those days. So, like, I don't know. Somewhere between... Fuck, it keeps falling. Somewhere between, like, 10 and 7 years ago, basically. So, a long time ago. Suddenly, I get, like, a DM on Tumblr from somebody who's like, hey... like, we're working, whatever, like, you're this person, and I'm like, yes, I'm this person. And then they're like, cool, so I'm a friend of someone you know, and then they insert X's name here. Let's, for the sake of the story, let's just say, who's a celebrity? Danny DeVito, there we go. I got to know about you through Danny DeVito. And I'm like, okay, cool. And then we spoke English, by the way. I live in Norway, so, which was interesting. But yeah, he's like, I got recommended to you by fucking Danny DeVito, Jamie Lee Curtis. And no, that's my favorite character. It's not a real person. But yeah. So then he's like, yeah, so, you know, I got, and I'm like, okay, kind of weird that, you know, my ex is, like, recommending people, even though, so this was for, like, art purposes, and I don't know if he even knew that I drew at the time when we were together, so it was a little weird, but, like, I wasn't, like, too put off by it, so then he was, like, the dude that I was talking to, he was like, hey, we like, so me and some other people, not my ex included, are looking for, like, art for, like, a thing that we're doing in Blender. And I'm like, okay, cool, I can probably work on that, because, you know, I was, like, a poor teenager needing money, so, so then it was like, okay, sure, let's fucking do it. And we added each other on Skype, and long story, very fucking short, we spoke for a long time. What you draw? I did not know that. Shut up. But yeah, so we spoke, we became friends, like, me and this dude. And then at some point, it was very weird. Suddenly, like, out of the blue, he's like, hey, Danny DeVito wanted to talk to you. And I'm like, what? It's like, we broke up years ago, because, like, if this happened, say, 10 years ago, then the relationship was, like, when was it? Like, 2, 3, 4 years before that, you know, so it was a fucking long time ago. I don't know exactly how many years. I'm very bad with the whole time-space continuum, but it's, again, a long time ago, right? And I'm like, that's fucking weird. And then he was like, he doesn't, like, actually want to talk to you, but he did send me this, like, I don't know if it was a Word document or a notepad or whatever it was, but, like, he sent me this message that he wanted me to send to you. I have not opened this, I have not read this, like, it's for your eyes only. Oh shit! That fucking scared the shit out of me. But yeah, so this dude is like, yo, fucking Danny DeVito wants me to send you this message, like, do you want to accept? So then I'm like, okay, sure, I will read this message from Danny DeVito, even though I feel like it's kind of weird, right? And then I do, and it's just like, I read this message, and the message is like, oh, Anna, whatever, hi, it's me, Danny DeVito. Remember when we were together and we had all these hopes and dreams, which were like, we were very fucking young at the time. Like, I would say 13 maybe that we were together, like, so, you know, hopes and dreams, like, what? I don't know. And it's like, I still remember you, and like, whatever, and like, I have never forgotten you, and it's like a bunch of weird shit like that, right? I obviously don't remember it word by word. I kind of wish I kept it, just so I could like read it out loud, although then I would have to translate it from the region. So anyways, so, oh yeah, I forgot a part that came before it. So the dude that, you know, approached me on Tumblr, he was speaking English to me, and then at some point we figured out that I'm from Norway, so that was like a surprise to him that I like spoke Norwegian. But just keep that in mind, that little detail. That's just how fucking deep this fucking catfish went. So I read the thing, and it said all of those stuffs. And then he was like, okay, so, like, what should I, like, tell him, right? Like, what should I tell Danny DeVito? Like, what is your response to this? And I'm like, basically, short version of what I said, which I think I pretty much kept it just a short when I said it to the guy. We can call him Cecil, because Cecil is a name that's currently in my brain, mostly because of Welcome to Night Vale, which I have been listening to again lately. So Cecil was like, what's your response to Danny DeVito? And I'm like, that fucking boy needs to calm the fuck down. Like, holy shit, this was years ago. I don't really give a shit. Right? Like, we broke up, and that's like, it's over, and like, I don't think about him. I don't like feel anything for him. Like, I just like, what? That's like, I just thought it was a whole fucking weird thing. And then his response was like, oh, okay, like, ... And then we went on to speak as normal for like a few days. And then he just like ghosted the fuck out of me, right? And we were friends. At this point, we would have probably spoken for maybe half a year or something. So like, we were friends for a long time, right? And this was on Skype, right? So at some point, he must have deleted me, because I could no longer, like, where it says where they're online or offline, it just had a question mark. And that usually means that the person has deleted you from their friends list. But the way Skype, I don't know if it still works like that, but the way it worked at the time is that even if they delete you, they are still on your friends list. So you might not be on theirs, but he was on mine. And then I was like, okay, weird. But like, I just didn't delete him because I didn't care. And then maybe like half a year or a year later, so again, like a long time has passed, I was like purging all of my Skype contacts, because the only stuff I wanted left there was like my IRL friends and like my family, because I didn't really use Skype much. So I just wanted to keep that for like people I actually knew, like IRL, and still like was in contact with. And so I scroll down, and then I see like Cecil's at, and then I'm like, what is this picture? Because he changed his profile picture, and I'm like, that looks fucking familiar. Oh god, I just lost the entire thing. And so I open the picture to look at it, like, well, it's bigger, and it's fucking Debbie DeVito. What is his name? Denny. I'm so sorry. It's fucking Danny DeVito, and I'm like, wait a fucking moment. This fucking bitch, okay? This fucking bitch contacted me, not in the language that he knew we both spoke. He contacted me in English, pretending to be his friend. Being like, hi, we want to hire you for like an art thing, which never happened, by the way. This fucking guy, okay? He somehow he found me, right? Because maybe he like asked some of our like common friends or something for like my Tumblr account or some shit, which they then gave to him and did not tell me that he knows my Tumblr. So that's also like scummy of my friends from the time. But this fucking bitch pretended to be somebody else, spoke to me in a different language than the one that he knew we both spoke, and then pretended to be like surprised that, oh, you're Norwegian? Cool. Oh wait, you're that Anna? Oh my god, I'm friends with Danny DeVito, your ex. Which he was, by the way. And this was just like a whole fucking conspiracy. And then we spoke for at least half a year. We became fucking internet pals, right? And it's like, it was some weird as fucking shit. And then I just need to open another one. I'm gonna open another blue one. And then he deletes me after I basically say that, you know, Danny DeVito needs to calm the fuck down. This was like years ago, and like I don't fucking give a shit about him anymore, right? Like, we were 13 or something when we were together, so it wasn't exactly a very meaningful relationship, right? All we did was like we sat in a room, and then if he was ever visiting me, or if there was ever a couch or a bed available, he would just pretend to be asleep, and I would just sit there and like have nothing to do. So it was like boring as shit, right? Being with this guy. And like sometimes he would tickle me, and that's basically the basis of the entire fucking relationship, right? God, 13-year-olds are weird, myself fucking included. But yeah, so because that's also like, that's what the relationship was, right? Him pretending to be asleep, and sometimes he would tickle me, and that's like, and that is the thing that he was like, oh, the hopes and dreams, and I can't like get over you and whatever, like years later. And I'm like, bro, what the actual fuck? And then I only find out because he deleted me on Skype, and then half a year later, somewhere between like there, or like maybe it was a year later, I don't know, it was like a long time that has passed, he changes his profile picture to be his face again, because I guess he used his personal Skype to like catfish me for some time. I'm guessing the pictures that I had of him, because I did get to see him, and in some pictures, he was with Danny DeVito, so he probably used his friend's face for this shit, right? Because they were in the same picture. Like, you know, quote-unquote Cecil and Danny DeVito, they were in the same picture, so Danny DeVito probably just, like, stole his friend's entire identity to try and do this shit to me. And it's just so fucking weird! And I will never forget about it, and it's just like, what the actual fuck? Oh my god, wait, this should be made as a movie. Yes, please, I watched that. Legit, though. Like, it was so surreal. And again, I only found out because Skype, when you delete somebody, this was years ago. This was probably, like, I don't know, between 10 and 8 years ago. So, I don't know if Skype still does this, but if you delete somebody off of Skype, they might be off of your friends list, but you're still on theirs. And that's the only way that I found out that fucking Cecil was actually Danny DeVito, I guess trying to get back together, even though we didn't even live in the same cities anymore. Because not too long after we broke up, he moved to a different city. I can't get over it. What the fucking deed, right? I can't get over it. It's the most surreal, confusing thing of all time. I think I'm gonna have my chin be pink. This is another story time, bitches. So this is another dude. And this is more scary than anything, honestly, when I think about it. Like, thankfully, nothing bad happened, but it was, like, when thinking in retrospect, it's kind of scary. So, this is around, like, the teen years. Maybe I was, like, 16, right? Let's just say I was 16. I would hang in a lot of, like, chats online, like, group chats and stuff, or chat rooms, or whatever you want to call them. And in one of these, I met this dude. And he was way too old to be speaking to a 16-year-old. Let's just say that. He was probably, like, in his 20s or something. So, you know, red flag number one. But obviously, 16-year-old me did not fucking know what she was doing. We add each other on MSN. We continue talking. Suddenly, he's like, he wants to, like, cam call. Or, you know, video call, whatever you want to call it. And I'm like, okay, sure, whatever. And then, while we do it, he starts talking, like, shit about himself. Basically, like, oh, I'm ugly, no girl will ever love you, and whatever. And I'm like, I don't always seem like it with the amount of swearing that I do, but especially at the time, I was, like, the biggest people pleaser. So I was obviously like, no, you're not, you're fine, like, whatever. And then, like, you know, you don't look that bad. I mean, he wasn't ugly. Like, he wasn't, like, the most handsome man on the earth, but he wasn't, like, as ugly as he was saying that he was, right? And then he was like, oh, like, am I good looking enough to where, like, you would date me, or, like, somebody like you would date me? And I'm like, I mean, sure, I guess. Like, I mean, I did not feel anything for this mess. This was maybe, like, 2 days into us knowing each other, like, from, like, a random fucking chat room online, right? And so he starts going there, and then we stopped the call at some point, and I think it was during the same day. This was all in a very short amount of time. He like sends me like a poem or something about like, I don't know, you're so beautiful, whatever, whatever, whatever. And I'm like, okay, cool, I guess that's nice, that like, thanks, but like, I'm, you know, not exactly trying to make anything happen with this dude, right? And so I think it was the next day, right? This is now day 3 of us knowing each other. He like basically sends me a longest fucking, no, this one will not stick, that has no glue in it. He sends me like, I just saw another one fall as I looked down. He sends me this longest fucking thing about how he like loves me basically. And I'm like, actually though, dude, 16-year-old me had enough brain to say like, bro, we've known each other for like 3 days. You don't fucking love me. Like, we can be friends, but if you don't stop, then like, I'm not gonna, you know, I'm not gonna keep you around, right? And then he got so mad, and he like basically screamed at me in caps. Like, we were not on call after that incident, right? He was like, excuse me, I put on one of them, and then the other just stuck to my finger and fell off. And he was like screaming at me like, oh my god, basically trying to manipulate me, right? Now that I'm old enough to know those words. Trying to be like, oh my god, like, whatever, I thought you were this person, but you're actually like, I don't know, such a bitch and whatever. And it's like, if you don't love me and if you hate me and you think that I'm ugly and whatever, just fucking delete me. And then I'm like, I mean, dude, I don't think... Like, at some point, he did actually ask me to marry him during this entire thing. Proposed to a 16-year-old, okay? That he met 3 days ago in a chat room. I'm just putting that out there. And I was like, bro, if you're gonna continue being like this, then just fucking, I'll delete you, right? Because blocking was not a thing, but deleting was. And then he was like, okay, fine. Like, see if I care, you know? Like, delete me, whatever. That one is also not sticking. Jeez, exactly. And then he was like, fine, delete me. Like, I dare you. And then I did. I'm like, okay. And then right after sending, okay, I deleted the bitch. And then for years, probably 5 years after that, I would keep getting emails that... Hi, this person tried to contact you on this site. Click the link to enter. And it was his name. And it was a link to a site that I don't even know what it was, right? Like, I don't know if it was like a virus thing. I don't know how he got my email to begin with, by the way, like how that happened. But probably for 5 years. It happened almost every day. Right after the incident for... maybe a year, and then the other 2 years it was maybe like once a month, and then for the other, what are we at, like 2-3 years after that again, it was like once half a year, and then at some point he finally gave up, right? And it's just like, bro, what the fuck? It is scary when you think back to it, but I'm so happy that fucking 16-year-old me had the brain to be like, you want me to delete you? Okay, goodbye. And just fucking yeet the mans out of there, right? Beautiful. Okay. I did it. Wait, I actually need to put on my glasses and see if I actually did it. I might need to do it again, depending on the result. I can see you guys again! And I can see myself. Holy shit. Very good decision, right? Holy shit. But yeah, so those are the weird, stalker, catfishy, whatever story times that I've got.